The best thing about being an options trader is it allows me to homeschool my children. It's important that I teach them the right way to think about the world as early as possible. Here's a picture my son made for me during his art class. I think it's beautiful.
Thanks for tuning into the video. So what I'm doing is I'm just looking at some options chains at night before I get ready to take it in to kind of understand what I want to look forward to doing the next day. And I want to kind of have my plan together before the market opens. So sometimes this prep that I do at the evening allows me to wake up, but I already know what I'm going to be looking at. Therefore, if I wake up late, I know what I need to get into as opposed to having to wake up and kind of doing some of this preliminary work, right? And this is just my strategy. Everybody can have a different strategy. So we're not here to talk about that. What we're here to talk about is looking at these options chains and understanding that an options chain can be set up to where it can be almost impossible for the situation to be favorable to you as an options trader. And I think this is a really, really good example. So we're looking at the ticker GALT. It's a pharmaceutical ticker. And the reason why I'm looking at this play is because what's that guy's name? Martin Shkreli? Is that his name? He's from New York. He went to the federal system for securities fraud a few years ago. He's been out maybe 1 to 2 years. He put out a short report on this ticker. He says that they're going to release a drug test study in December, and he says it's going to show that their drug is inconclusive or it does not do what they desire it to do from a particular medical application. And he believes also that they're going to run out of money before the end of 2025. And I saw that this afternoon before the whole brouhaha happened in the overall market. And I was looking at maybe running some puts on it. And the puts didn't look great then. And then when I looked at it now after the market is closed and everything is taking place, the puts really look terrible, right? And I'm gonna kind of show you what I mean. People can get attracted to these plays because the cost of the puts are relatively inexpensive, but the likelihood of these puts actually going your way, it'll be next to zero. So this may be a play that you can short with equity, but it could probably be very difficult for you to try to do this with puts, right? So I'm gonna show you what I mean. So first, the IV on them is ridiculous. We're talking about 837, 856, 989, 13353. So what they mean is that even at the 50-cent strike, you're already paying for all that implied movement already baked into the price, right? Next thing you want to look at is the delta. The deltas here are not terrible, right? But we're going to show you something different. So with the $2 strike, you're getting a 38 cents increase in premium for every dollar move. The issue is that it's already at $2. So you already have an IV at the $2 strike that's 837. So the implied move is already baked into the price of this. You're going to get a 38-cent increase in premium with every dollar move, right? However, it's only at $2. So if it goes down to 102, you're going to get increased by 38% as long as the IV stays consistent. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? We don't know what the Vega is because if this IV starts to crush, and I doubt that happens in the next 2 days, because tomorrow it'll be 1 day expiration, then you'll get a decrease in premium because of how high that IV. So that IV just has to go to 537 and you'll lose a lot in premium. Okay, let's go to the next expiration date. Let's look at the 17th, which is something a lot of people are going to be looking at because they believe that the reporting for this particular drug study is going to come out before the end of this month, which is really like about 2 weeks. Okay, so now here's where the deltas get really bad. Looking at the $2 strike right here, I'm seeing a 16-cent delta. That's terrible. IV is $6.91, but I'm getting a 16-cent delta. So again, we're pretty much at $2, right? If we open at 102 on Friday, I'm only going to get a 16 cents increase in premium. So is it worth the risk of the $1.40 to just get to 16 cents if everything goes my way? And I would need it to open up at that because the IV is so high. So even at $1.40 premium, you're going to get a massive amount of IV crush probably around the beginning of the year of 2025 because of how high this IV already is. Like I said, all the implied movement is already baked into this $1.40 that they're asking for. they will go into a 13-cent delta, a 9-cent delta, a 5-cent delta. So I was looking earlier today, like I said before, everything kind of fell apart in the overall market. I was looking at the 50-cent strike, and my goal was, if I can get a really, really strong move towards that 50-cent strike, it'll increase the premiums and I can eat off that. But again, the problem is that it's at 202. If this was a $15, $12, $14 stock, even a $10 stock, it'd be a different story, because I'll be planning for a total collapse once that report comes out. But the challenge is that it's already at $2. Okay, but we're only getting the 16 cents. So the in the money 2.5 strike right here, it's a 20-cent delta, which is really not that good. Normally in the money delta is going to be around 40 cents. The 40-cent delta is at the $5 strike. It's that deep in the money. They want to charge you $3.90 for that. It's a lot of money. Okay, let's go to the Aprils. Right, same thing. You're getting a 354 implied volatility, and you're getting a 15-cent delta, 17 cents, 17 cent, 24, 24. You only get a 47 to 34 delta at the 5 and the 7.5, which is deep, deep, deep in the money. Right? Therefore, this open interest, because we're seeing daily volume, was already there before the premium started to shoot up. Right? And so this contract, even the the 50 cents strike at 35 cents, let's say you got $1,000, you're like, I'm just going to buy a bunch of the 35-cent strikes. The problem again is that your delta at 0.03, we're seeing the end of money's at 0.17, right? So right now it's at 0.03. What do you think it's going to go, even if this thing starts to move towards that 50 cents? What do we think the delta is going to be? So if we risk $1,000, we put $1,000 on the line, currently right now will only return 0.03. Now those deltas will change as this stock price gets closer to this particular strike price. But where do we think it'll go? Because right now at the money, you're getting 17-cent delta. Okay, here is July that I was looking at, because I was thinking maybe they'll run out of money by July and I can play it there. Same issue. First, the 50-cent strike got 1,000 IV. It's crazy, right? And it's giving you no delta. And they're asking for 75, the bid is 30. So it's a big, big spread, right? But there's no delta on it, okay? The $2 strike giving you 13-cent delta, 289 IV, right? And the reason why I'm showing you this is because people can be attracted to some of these contracts because they're inexpensive. Let's go back to this April. Because they see it as inexpensive, especially these 50 cents. The challenge is that the way this contract is set up, the way this particular share price is currently, it can be very difficult. If this was trading at $15 and this was 35, and this delta in these IVs, but especially this IV wasn't so coked up, I could buy it and hope that when the news comes out, it collapses towards this particular strike, and that 35 turns into 65. And then what I could do is get 100% of my money. So if I put 1,000 down, I'll be able to put 1,000 back out. And I'll be looking to do that late December, early January once the report comes out, because all I'll be looking for this ask to do is just double, because there's not a big spread between the bid and the ask, right? Even though there's no open interest there. So we're seeing 30 cents bid, 35 cents ask, not a big spread, right? Same thing here, 35 and 40. It's not a big spread. The problem is that IV is way, way, way too obscene. And I'm not getting paid back enough for every dollar move, right? So with this IV already in there, I would need a collapse. So what the market makers have done now is price this for a collapse, because I think they realized that dude put out that report, and for some reason they think that his report may have some credibility to it. So just wanted to give you the idea of like how to really look at these chains and understand the story that the chain is telling you, especially when you're dealing with equity tickers, because they can often price things in a way which, even if you're correct on the direction of the movement, the way the contract has been priced out, it can be very difficult to benefit from it, right? Jimmy Williams from Buy the Hood told me a really, really powerful thing. He says, if the numbers don't work before you buy the house, it can be very difficult for the numbers to work once you get into the house. So once you start tearing it up and remodeling and the numbers didn't work on the front end, it can be difficult to make those numbers work when you get ready to sell it back into the market. It can be very similar with options contracts. If we're already looking at a really, really bad scenario based on our numbers, based on our Greeks, it can be very difficult for this to turn our way once the market starts moving. Hope you got some value from it. Talk to you later.